accordance to Article 144, Clause 2 of the 1992 Constitution, which empowers the President to appoint justices to the highest courts of the land,
he has appointed.
Yes, I'll give you your time, and then you can use a bit of it to respond. We have a number of issues to touch on, so we have to speed this up. And the Speaker of Parliament has referred the President's appointment nominations to the Appointments Committee. I understand that minority has some concerns about that. You think these pack in the courts? What's going on there? Let's understand what you're saying. Feel free to use about a minute to reflect back on what
he said that I can say that we should pass a regulation to expand it so that there will be predictability. He used that word. That is the whole basis for Article 296 of the Constitution. That's it. You see, where there is no definition for the very grounds for which, or some of the grounds, at least two of the grounds, that the Superior Court judges may be removed, then you need a regulation because somebody will be exercising a discretionary power that, in his opinion, this is stated misbehavior. This is not.
We are still on the judiciary, so let's move on to those 7 nominees to the Supreme Court. Yeah.
The power rests with the President to appoint Supreme Court judges. And this is what our brothers on the other side always misappreciated. They misappreciated the fact that under President Akufo-Addo, there were vacancies to be filled. Those vacancies could not be left for any other president to come and fill because, very respectfully, you didn't like President Akufo-Addo. Or you thought that it was the MPP going to do it and was going to have the opportunity to appoint all the justices of the Supreme Court. Let's get it clear. During the first term of President Mahama, he had the opportunity. There were 2 vacancies. He filled them. When President Akufo-Addo came into office, by happenstance, he had the opportunity to fill or appoint a lot of the justices of the Supreme Court. That didn't make it wrong. And this is what they need to understand. President Mahama, in his second term, is appointing 7 justices of the Supreme Court. Let's ask ourselves, yes, the court may not have a ceiling. However, by convention, it has had a certain number. True. It has always had 15, between 14, 15, 16. At some point under President Akufo-Addo, it went to 18. And so now they think that they have to appoint more people to the Supreme Court. Clearly, it is consistent with a preconception, right? Which is that they always said that the court should be balanced. The court should be balanced. Now, when you say the court should be balanced, are we now supposed to take it that those you are now appointing are going to do the bidding of the NDC? This is where you create a prejudiced situation. Because as a practitioner of our courts, I know the judges that have been appointed, they are very distinguished judges. They are all very distinguished judges, very independent, to a large extent. Now you say that you have to balance the court. You have to balance the court because for you, the court is packed by President Akufo-Addo.
And that's the meaning you get from what's happening now.
That's the
you said that now they think, but you mean the NDC administration, they think they have to pack the courts.
The meaning as to me, Bafu was sitting here. What do you get? No, what do you get? What do you get, very respectfully, when there has been a chorus of the court needs to be balanced because the MPP has taken over the court? What do you get?
But the thing is, I'm asking you the question now, and I want to understand. We are here for our audience. You want to understand what the meaning you get from what they're saying. That they want to put NDC judges in there. That's what you're saying.
No, what is a balance? What is a balance? What are they seeking to balance? If the conversation has always been that the court is packed with MPP judges, and so we have to balance it. What does it mean?
Okay. And you also said that the judges are people who are have distinct career or reputation.
Such commentary become unfair for these judges.
Okay.
That's the point I'm making.
Okay. So let me come to Hamza now. Hamza, it appears the NPP thinks you want to balance. By balance, you want to balance the number of NDC judges we have in the Supreme Court versus the number of NPP judges we have in the Supreme Court. That's why I asked if that's the meaning he gets from that. Of course, he admitted that it was under President Akufo-Addo's time that we saw the highest number going to 18. And so now you think that you have to put more judges in there. How are you responding to all these?
I think that, first of all, it is important for us to make the point that undoubtedly the NDC during the campaign promised a reset of the country. And that would mean that every sector that we consider that was unjust needed to be put on a just footing. But that is not the same way as interfering with the judicial processes of our country in a way intended to skew it in favor of the National Democratic Congress or any other political party. If you look at the appointments so far, or nominations made by His Excellency President Mahama, go and look at the caliber of judges that have been appointed. Under the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, these are senior judges on the Court of Appeal bench who were sidestepped, appointed their genius to the Supreme Court. It is only fair that when you have an opportunity to ensure that judicial independence and cohesion, especially when it comes to that sensitive arm of government, that you do everything within your power to give it that semblance of justice. And so what President Mahama has done, they should mention any of the judges who is a member of the National Democratic Congress or has ever associated in any way with the National Democratic Congress. None. These are reputable men and individuals. Some of them were even appointed by His Excellency President John Agyekum Kufuor to the Court of Appeals bench. So President Mahama is only doing the needful by ensuring that those who have sat on the bench for years, gathered experience, become useful to us, especially when it comes to the Supreme Court level. What the hell is wrong with that? Excuse my language.
No, you see.
But you see, again, sweetie, I can understand the discomfort of the New Patriotic Party. For them, any action they take has partisan motives. And so if the NDC is engaged in certain actions intended to put our country back on track, they can be forgiven to think that we are behaving like them or we are thinking like them. Because when they look at us, especially with actions that we are taking, they see themselves in us. But we are not like them. There's a huge difference when it comes to us and the NPP. They appointed Justice Gao to the Supreme Court. We all know that Justice Gao, even before his appointment, was a parliamentary candidate on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party. Look at the speed that Nana Addo used to elevate him to the Supreme Court. Have you seen President Mahama or President Mills even attempt that? President Mills of blessed memory. So we know the sanctity of that institution. We respect that sanctity. And we would not engage in acts to undermine it.
While you're respecting the sanctity, let me give you another angle to the conversation. While you're respecting the sanctity of this, arm of government, the judiciary, you're doing all you can to preserve the integrity of it. He's saying that the rhetoric of political actors, NDC party officials, saying things, and you can do the same analysis with the removal of the Chief Justice. While we are following legal procedures, although you're just saying now that it's unconstitutional, it is a rhetoric of partisan people saying that, yes, we are happy she's been removed and all that. That's what's giving it that political cloth. So if the NDC people are saying that we want to balance the judiciary by putting in members, in a way, balancing the number of people they think are, judges that they think are affiliated to the NPP, that gives it a political coloring, does it not?
It does not necessarily give it a political color. You see, first of all, you need to understand that even if you belong to a political party, you are first of a citizen of the Republic of Ghana, and you are entitled to your opinions on matters. And so those people are forgiven to express their opinions and their desires when it comes to the legal architecture of our country. But it does not mean that His Excellency President Mahama will do as they have indicated. We must make that distinction.
Okay.
People are free. In any case, even before we came into office, about 3 surveys indicated that there was something fundamentally wrong with our judiciary and needed reform. We did not say it. It was not the National Democratic Congress that sponsored these surveys. An all-time low in confidence as far as our judiciary is concerned. So any president who is concerned about the future of our democracy and the architecture of our justice system, it would be in the interest of such a president to be concerned about these perceptions and work with the judiciary to help at least check it or curb it.
Okay.
And that is what we are doing. But you see, it is important for me to make this point. You see, my brother made reference to Article 296, the exercise of discretionary power, and on the basis on which he has proceeded to say that operationalization of Article 146 is unconstitutional. This is strange. You see, when you look at Article 146, it outlines a certain procedure for the president to take. There are debates as to whether even in the establishment of the prima facie case, what the power vested in the president and that of the Council of State constitute an exercise of discretionary power. So you cannot pick and choose elements of implementation of Article 146 that you think in your reasoning requires a regulation and proceed to say the entire Article 146 requires it. When there is no even consensus as to whether indeed the decision of the president in consultation with the Council of State in the establishment of the prima facie case constitutes a discretionary power. I differ. I do not think that it constitutes an exercise of discretionary power.
I will come back to you in minutes to give me your final thoughts on this matter because we have to move to Washington.
Yes, and he said so many.
No, but you,
I'm actually timing you. But you see, your time.
Today you have
like I said, I'll come back
under 2 minutes.
I'll come back, make it 1 minute, and then you don't get any more say on this.
You see, again, when it comes to the processes, Madam, what's her name? Tokono, it's been taken through. I made the point from the onset that I am for anybody who feels that her rights are violated, and for that matter, there's the need for us to activate the legal processes. And I stated that I think that we are belaboring this point. What she has done is that she has filed an application at the Apex Court of the land. We must allow the processes to continue. The government, at the end of the day, is not focused on the removal processes of Madame Tokono. We have many other issues to deal with as a republic. Okay. We are still struggling to revive the economy that they left us. We have made promises to the Ghanaian people. Are
you struggling?
Of course, we are challenges. We are having challenges because the economy was battered. Last President Mahama indicated a crime scene. So we are struggling to get grips of it because we are moderate in our utterances. Okay. But we are convinced that we will be able to do so.
Okay, so that's 1 minute. You have 10 seconds. Wrap it up.
There are other many pertinent issues that occupy the attention of the government. We have activated Article 146. Article 146 is in motion. If my brother feels that without a regulation, Article 146 cannot be operationalized, the laws of this country allow him to take advantage of the courts and challenge sin. Right. It is not to come and sit on a radio or TV station and pontificate over sin. So, let us engage in the business of building the country.
It's rule of law. So if we have any issues, let rule of law prevail.
Don't worry. When you are in power, you see so many things. When you are in power, I mean, you fail to see the other side. But I would want us to look at things from a progressive.
Your rebuttal is in 1 minute, so that we move to Washington.
From a progressive standpoint. Firstly, there is no law that says that when there's a vacancy at the Supreme Court, you must appoint the senior judges of the Court of Appeal.
Is that in a way justifying the judges who were overstepped, like he's saying?
So to the extent that there's nothing like that, you can't say a judge was overstepped. If there was a law, even if there was a convention, then you can say they were overstepped. But to the extent that there's nothing, you can't even use the word overstepped. It's so misconceived. 2, when President Mahama was president, the first term, when there was a vacancy, he appointed Justice Puaman straight from practice to the Supreme Court. Justice Puaman, somebody I respect a lot. I'm a fan of, Justice Puaman. I respect him. I respect his legal brain. Apart from the fact that he was appointed straight from legal practice, was also the General Secretary of the PNC. Do you know Justice Bodi? Justice Bodi was a 3-term NDC parliamentary candidate for Obuasi East. But now he's a judge. And so when Nanado appointed Justice Gaiu, it wasn't the first time a parliamentary candidate was being appointed to the bench. It wasn't the first time a party, somebody, a senior member of a
politically
party,
exposed,
yes, was being appointed to the bench.
Yeah.
And so all those arguments are flawed. I think that we need a serious reform as regards the mode of appointment of our judges. I agree with him.
Okay, all right.
To ensure competence, to ensure proper independence of our judges. I appreciate
I thought we had more time, but we don't. So I'm just going to say this. I know from observing how political scandals unfold in this country that it always begins with denial. And so the action that the foreign minister has taken by shutting down the entire embassy on the Washington issue, I want to get your take on the matter in 1 minute and then we pop off. I'm hearing arguments saying that it's an infantile approach, that diplomacy it's a subtlety that, you don't just go out and shut down an entire embassy. What is your position on the matter in 1 minute and then I'll come back to you?
It was a clear case of poor judgment. An embassy provides different services. If one person in there has done something, has misconducted himself, or some few people have misconducted themselves, that can never be a basis for you to say you are shutting down an embassy. It's just like you saying that, some journalists at multimedia have misconducted themselves, so you are shutting down multimedia. That is not a proper approach. I expect that Honorable Kujeto Ablakwa, having spent some time in Parliament, would have, very respectfully gained the necessary experience to handle some of these things. But it looks like, that is not the case.
But the way they rationalize it, Naneje, is that if you don't shut it down, you give people the opportunity to either evade arrest or hide evidence and all that. Which happens?
How? The consular section, you have a problem with the consular section, which is just one of the many sections of the embassy. Does
this not look like an organized crime to you?
Organized crime?
Yeah. A new account, a different account set up to collect monies from people who are applying for visas.
I don't see any basis to arrive at that conclusion.
Okay.
I don't see any basis. And you see, he seems to be social media trigger happy. Quickly coming to social media to announce to the world. Do you think things don't happen at the American Embassy in Ghana? Do you think that things don't happen at the British High Commission? Do you know visa scandals that have happened at the British High Commission? I'm sure you've heard some in the past. But they are managed.
While you're condemning the approach, is there anything that you want to commend? Any thumbs up for how they've handled this? How they've actually seen that something like this is happening and taking quick action?
I suppose you want me to do an equalization.
Not necessarily. I have to go,
necessarily have to find something good just so you say I'm objective.
I'm asking if you found anything good.
I'm saying that you want me to necessarily find something good.
If there's nothing good, just say there's nothing good.
No, I'm not going to say that. But I don't see where that is coming from.
Okay.
Very respectfully.
Because this is something that concerns the entire country. I have to go. My producer is
wants to please somebody at all costs.
No, I don't want to please anyone. I'm sorry, I don't want to please anyone at all.
It looks like you want to please somebody at all costs.
Yes.
Share your thoughts with me quickly and let's go.
Briefly, it is strange and interesting listening to my brother, especially the very proponents of digital technology, now having a problem with the use of social media as an important platform. As an important platform of reaching out to the good people of this country. Remember that unlike them, we promised a transparent government, and we would not allow them to thwart that effort by simply seeking to run down social media platforms that we can use to reach the good people of this country, to keep them posted at every step of the way when it comes to the governance of their republic. And we are committed to that. As for the Honorable Kujeto Ablakwa, I heard my brother say that consular services provide so many other services. Undoubtedly true. But if you have a system where your IT system has been compromised, and we all know that in countries like the United States of America, everything hinges on that. So other departments may not have been directly linked to the scandal. But in truth, many of their offices were compromised.
Right.
It will only take a progressive leader to appreciate this, especially in the age of technology, and proceed to take measures to curb it. Okay. Mind you, this is not the first time embassies are being closed. Even the United States of America announced closure of embassies in China, and China said...
Those who join the conversation...
So this is not strange.
I'm sorry, we have to go.
Then we have to close it to...
Please mute his microphone for me. He's a lawyer and member of parliament for Malaysia South. Hamza, I'm closing the show. Hamza Sweeney is lawyer and member of the NDC Communications Directorate. And we've discussed a number of matters here, and that's how we're wrapping up for this segment. But if you are looking for... You are muted, gentlemen. No one can hear you.